All right. Welcome to OreoOlive.com. As you know, Oreo olives don't mix, but the abstract thought of putting those two words together has enlightened me to create a channel to discuss various topics. So on today's episode, we're just going to do a general chat, looking at this live stream that I have going on here, and I'm basically just trying to learn about it and figure it all out. So that way, as I continue to grow, there's more things I want to talk about, something I may want to do live, and then other things I want to do as traditional video. So it's definitely a learning opportunity for me. But what I want to talk about today is just a conglomerate of different things. I want to talk a little bit about life. I want to talk a little bit about relationships as well. Now, on the life tip, I was just thinking about what can I share with you all that will be a beneficial and helpful and productive and constructive conversation dealing with life on how I think that people should really look out for, or just different tips. What I was thinking about is what better way to start than starting from where you came from. All right. So when you're looking at where you came from, let's look at wherever that you grew up in the world, whether you grew up in America or another country. Everybody had a start from somewhere. And then most of us have probably went through high school, and I'm going to assume that most of us probably graduated high school. For those of you who have not or to get a GED, that's a totally different thing. I'm just looking on the average. So at that moment, those 4 years that we spent in high school, or the few years, depending on what country that you're in, we had options and things that we can choose which direction that we want to go in life. Some of us wanted to go to the military. Some of us just wanted to go straight off to college. Some of us wanted to go out into the workforce. And some of us didn't want to do anything at all. Now, from that perspective, from that age, 18, all the way up to 22, you really learn about yourself. You learn about what your likes and dislikes are. And then you begin to move to another stage in your life. So that high school stage would have been that first initial stage that you're still at home, you're still living under somebody else's roof, so you don't have as many responsibilities. In college is you're living on your own, but you're still living under somebody else's roof because you're not responsible for the infrastructure. So that will be like the holding area before you get ready to leave the actual building itself. And once you graduate college, you're full fledged adult getting ready to go out to the workforce. But where it starts is when you decide that you're going to give you a home or an apartment, you have your first job, you get your first paycheck, then you start really just getting out there and learning about life. And at that point, you have to make decisions on where you want your life to go from their perspective. Now let's hold there for a second. What about the people who didn't go to college? Well, for the people that went straight into the workforce, they went directly in. So they had those 4 years after graduating high school to kind of figure things out. But for some reason, it's like when you start to get into your 30s, you really start to look back and ask yourself, what have I done that has set me different than where I would have been like right now? And a whole lot of people, like everybody doesn't get the opportunity to make it to the tip top is what they would want. Now, opportunities are going to go to those who are going to put themselves out in society as wanting more. So you're going to have to surround yourself with more people, right? So as you surround yourself with more people, what happens is that you begin to meet other people in society, in life, that pretty much want the same things that you want, and they're going to help you move forward. So let me give you an example. You're just graduating college, you're getting into your career, and you go to a social and you end up meeting other like-minded people that want to grow. So what you are supposed to do is network with those people so that you can move forward to the next stage, because everybody needs help at some point in time, right? Because There's always somebody else out there above you that's signing the checks if you're not the owner, CEO, founder of that organization. Somebody else is signing that check, right? And so until then, you really have to abide by the rules that they set unless you can step out and create your own. Now, when you do that and you transition through life, you begin to figure out, okay, these are the things that I did right. These are the things that I did wrong. And it's hard for people to accept the things that they did wrong because they fear of how their peers would judge them. Proof of that is look at a typical high school reunion. When people come back from their high school reunion, oftentimes that happens. They want to come back. In a nicer car that's really not theirs. They're trying to show off. They're bragging about who they are and overinflating things. And it's not really the case because there's supposed to be a time you're supposed to come back and network with your classmates and not necessarily come back and make it seem like that you're bigger than what you actually are. And I know people like this, right? So as you grow into your career, and you're in your 30s now, and if everything worked out fine, you graduated at 18, out of college at 22, decide to go back for a master's, PhD, probably out before you're 26, and you're getting started in your career, so this sort of puts you right at about 35. You should have a general idea about what you want to do in life before the age of 30. There are a few, entrepreneurs out there in their 20s that have, created multi-million dollar companies that are doing very, very well. There's other people who may not want to create businesses. They may just want to be head of organizations at the tip top of their career. And that's fine. That doesn't bother anybody. That's perfectly fine. Doesn't harm anybody. That's great. I love being around people that are trying to do things that's going to help elevate you because you all can learn from each other. Now, as your career side is going, you also have to pay attention to your relationship side as well. Because I would think that most people would want to one day be in a relationship or be married. For those people who are not really into marriage, but really much more want relationships, that's a different thing. But we're just going to say relationships right now, so they can be either marriage or with someone that you're spending a lot of time with. So we're going to stick with relationships and leave it at that. When you're in those relationships, hopefully you're with someone that's going to move in the same direction as that you're moving in. Because what can happen is if one person in the relationship doesn't agree with the other person wanting to excel and do it further, that basically is grounds for disaster right there in that part of the relationship. And so you have to learn to develop those in getting with someone that's going to help you move from the ground up, especially when you're meeting someone. There's plenty of videos online where people want someone when they're at the tip top of their career, but they themselves are not at the tip top of their career. And it's unfair because that person wasn't there to struggle and go through the headaches of what other people have gone through that have created those companies, right? So my best advice that I could give, and it may not be fit for you, and you can take it for what it's worth because this is just basically for entertainment and educational purposes only, but when you find or you meet someone that is on the same level or close to the same level as you, that wants to move forward and have that drive, you all are going to create a legacy together. So, what's a good example? Look at two undergrads who are wanting to go to law school, and they work for it, and they are on the college campus. They meet, they're in a relationship, then they graduate college together, then they go into law school, and then they eventually get married and fulfill that relationship, and they're perfectly fine. Like they're okay. Some people don't like that. Some people prefer to have someone on the total opposite end of the spectrum that who was there for them, who was in the relationship with them, who was there for them, who cared for them, who help them along the way, but they decided they didn't want to go the same route. And we have to understand that more than likely you're gonna get people, you're gonna get in relationships with people and date people that are around the area that you're in. So if you are not around an area where there's a lot of high value people, it's what the term that's on the internet now is high value people, people who earn a significant amount of money. Not everyone gets the opportunity to date or be around those kinds of people. So when the people that circulate in those areas, they end up meeting like the daughters and sons of other people who own like companies. And so it's like those people in those circles run and stick together, and their children tend to date one another because of the resources that they have. But it's very rare that people that are not in the circle getting the opportunity to talk to and date those people, other people that are in those particular circles. And it's not that they can't, it's that it just takes time for that to transpire. But from you all's perspective, because definitely put it in the comments below, because I definitely want to hear your side of the story and everything. But I think the expectations that people want right now is we live in a generation where we have a lot of people that feel that they are entitled to so many things that they didn't work hard for. And that's not right. It never has been right, and it shouldn't be right. And so when you don't put in the work to get those things and accumulate those things, then you don't get the prize that's at the end. And that can be both for your career or not. Like a person can work a job for X number of years and they may not go and skill themselves up, and they expect somebody to give them the next position when you have a person over here who is totally skilling themselves up and they can do the job, and the other person is jealous in their regard. And instead, that person is upset at the skillful person rather than asking the skillful person, hey, what did you do to get to this point? And that's what we need. We need more people that are going to help other people move forward only when they specifically and only ask you for help. You can only help people who want to be helped. If they don't ask you for help, then, don't give it to them. But they come to you and ask you for help, evaluate it to see if you're going to indeed actually help them or you're going to be a crutch. And I will leave that to you all to decide on that. But definitely keep all those things in mind because they all play off of one another. And I think it's very critical that these type of topics we discuss often, because we're going to definitely get into a lot more relationship topics later on down the line, people. So I want you all to definitely keep that out. So I'm going to leave that to you all there and let that kind of soak in your mind. Definitely let me know in the comments below. Like, listen, subscribe. OreoOlive.com. Look forward to bringing more content and topics to you all soon.